Mara drank the magic potion given by the old woman so she could become beautiful and win the heart of the prince.
I choose you to be my queen.
There lived a girl called Mara. She was born on a night of sorrow. Her mother died bringing her into the world, and her father, broken with grief, looked upon the child and named her Mara. For in his heart she had brought bitterness. Yet, even in his pain, he raised her the best way he could, holding on to the only piece of love he had left. But hardship followed Mara like a shadow. When she was still young, her father too passed on, leaving her alone in a world that had never been gentle. The villagers whispered about her. Her skin was rough and marked with deep scars, her face covered in stubborn acne that would not fade. Children avoided her, women turned away, men laughed. She is the ugliest woman in the village, they would always say. And so Mara grew up with no friends but the wind, no comfort but her own voice. Yet the spirit had not left her empty, for Mara's hands were gifted. She made the best beads, the most beautiful beads in all the land. Bright colors that told stories of rivers, sunsets, and dreams. She cooked meals so rich and flavorful that even the elders would pause in quiet admiration. But still, no one came close. They bought her goods, yes, but never her company. So when sorrow filled her heart, Mara would walk into the forest where the tall trees listened and the birds did not judge. There she would sit beneath an old tree singing softly and let her tears fall into the earth. One day, as the dry season was giving way to the rains, a royal messenger arrived in the village, beating a drum that echoed far and wide. By order of the king, he called, all maidens are summoned to the great palace. The prince shall choose a bride. The village erupted with excitement. Maidens adorned themselves with fine clothes, beads, and oils. Laughter filled the air. But Mara stayed inside her small hut. I will not go, she whispered to herself. I will only be a laughing stock. Instead, she walked to her forest, her place of quiet sorrow. As she sat beneath her tree, singing to the birds, an old woman appeared, her back bent with age, her eyes bright like a hidden fire. My child, the woman said gently, why does your song carry so much pain? Mara wiped her tears and spoke honestly. She spoke of her loneliness, her scars, the cruel words of the villagers, and the gatherings at the palace she dared not attend. The old woman listened without interruption. Then, from a small calabash, she brought out a shimmering liquid. Drink this, she said. It will change how the world sees you. Mara hesitated. What is the price? The old woman smiled faintly. Only this. Its power will fade on the night of the full moon. What remains after that will be the truth. With trembling hands, Mara drank. At once, the air seemed to shift. Her skin smoothed like the back of a calabash. Her scars vanished. Her hair fell in rich dark waves, adorned as though by unseen hands. When she looked into the stream nearby, a stranger looked back, a woman of breathtaking beauty. Mara gasped. Go, the old woman said, but remember, beauty that is borrowed must one day be returned. The old woman advised, you have a short time to show the prince and the kingdom who you truly are and what true beauty really means. Mara stepped out of the forest. As she walked through the village, people stopped in their tracks. Men stared in awe. Women whispered in disbelief. Who is she? They asked. From which kingdom does she come? No one recognized her. That evening, she went to the palace. The great courtyard was filled with maidens from many lands, dressed in their finest. The prince sat beneath a grand palace, watching as each woman displayed her gifts. First came the bead-making competition. Princesses and maidens presented their finest work, but when Mara stepped forward, the crowd fell silent. Her beads shimmered with stories, woven with such skill that even the elders leaned forward in wonder. Then came the cooking competition. Fires were lit, pots stirred, spices filled the air. One by one, the dishes were tasted. But when the prince tasted Mara's meal, he paused, then smiled deeply. This, he said, tastes like home. By the end of the trials, there was no doubt. The prince chose Mara. She was taken into the palace, clothed in honor, and soon became his bride. But as joy filled her days, fear also filled her nights, for the moon was growing.
Beauty fades like the evening sun, but good character is like the moon.